Let's get it. It's an absolutely gorgeous day here in the Carolinas. Pardon me. And I'm so glad to see it. I do hate I hadn't been able to come on the last few days. I do hope everyone is well and that you too are able to get out and enjoy this day just as I am. Getting in some fresh air, some sunshine, and hopefully some good exercise in. I was always taught something that when you see something, keep working on it, it'll work out. When you actually see something in your spirit or your ruach, keep working on it. So it'll work out. That means it's already been worked out before you saw it. It's already been seen in the spiritual, therefore it's already a reality. And as I was saying in the prior recording I didn't keep, I hadn't been on a few days. We had some, I wouldn't say personal issues, but we've had some work being done. And we'll leave it at that. But all praises to the Most High. As I was saying, it's just a gorgeous day here in the Carolinas. And I do hope you are well and that you're able to enjoy this beautiful day. Hopefully you're able to get out and get some fresh air in, some sunshine, and hopefully some exercise. Getting that heart rate up. And like I said, we hadn't been able to get out here, but I still been doing my studying. As you would guess, I would hope you would guess. Because this is no part-time thing. You can't have a relationship with somebody part-time. You got to be in tune with them 24/7. It's just like my wife, when she's not around, I'm thinking about her. And wondering how is she? Is she alright? What she's up to? Okay. And I did have a beautiful thought I want to share for today. And the thought is, your present location is not your final destination. Your present location is not your final destination. And what I'm going to do is read over some scripts and then we'll go by notes. And the first one is Psalms 27, 13, and 14. I had fainted unless I believed to see the goodness of the Most High in the land of the living. Wait on the Most High. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Most High. And then Baruch 2 and 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. And finally, we're going to read over the parable of the lost son, and that's found in Luke 15, 11 through 32. And most would say the prodigal son. To illustrate the point further, Yahusha told them this story. A man had two sons. The younger son told his father, I want my share of your estate now before you die, which is unheard of. Because basically that's an inheritance. But we won't delve into that. So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. A few days later, his son packed all his belongings moved to a distant land. And there he wasted all his money in wild living. And see, this is one of the reasons why nobody leaves an inheritance until they're gone. I'm sure for one that would break a man's heart to see that he's worked all his life to give his family a head start and they squander the opportunity. But the other is because he's still going to be testing and seeing where they're at before he passes. See, he want to see if what he's instilled into him is going to start showing back up before he make them final decisions. About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land, and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his fields to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. But no one gave him anything. When he finally came to his senses, remember that, when he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, at home even the hired servants have food enough to spare, and here I am dying of hunger. I will go home to my father and say, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant. So he returned home to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. That's another good point. I gotta say this. It says, while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. So that means his father had to be looking for him. To see him coming, and not only to see him coming, but to see him coming from a long way off. That's an important fact. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son. But his father said to his servants, quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet, and kill the calf we have been fattening. Oh boy. There's another clue there to this great love the Father has and his faith. See, the Father had been setting aside the fatted lamb for the Son for when he knew he would return, for that great day of celebration. We must celebrate with the feast, for this son of mine was dead and now returned to life. He was lost, but now is found. So the party began. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. When he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house. And he asked one of the servants what was going on. Your brother is back, he was told, and your father has killed a fatted calf. We are celebrating because of his safe return. The older brother was angry and wouldn't go in. His father came out and begged him, but he replied, all these years I've slaved for you and never once refused to do any single thing or to do a single thing you told me to. And in all that time you never gave me even one goat for a feast with my friends. There's so much in this. I thank the Most High for this. It showed where his heart was at. First of all, he considered working for his own estate slavery. And secondly, it showed where his heart was at. His heart was not in the Father's business, which basically was his business. His idea was his friends. And I'm gonna leave that alone. Yet when this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fatted calf. His father said to him, "Look, dear son, you have always stayed by me, and everything I have is yours." Oh boy. See, the father had to go ahead and break it down to him and let him know what he should have already known. Everything I have is yours. Your brother was dead and has come back to life. He was lost, but now he is found. And I'm going to just read over my notes. Sometimes we find ourselves in very uncomfortable situations here in our present location, just as the prodigal son did in Yahushua's parable, mostly by our own doing. However, just as he, and in the script, says we would, we must come to our senses and remember who and whose we are, and also act accordingly. And that was the script we read in Baruch, saying that we will return to basically our senses and remembering who we are in the land of our captivity, where we find ourselves now. I went on to say, we must come back home daily, hourly, and minute by minute, knowing that we have our loving Abba Yahuwah standing watch, waiting to celebrate our return. Matter of fact, he says in Isaiah 48:17, "I am the Most High, your Elohim, who teaches you what is good for you and leads you along the path you should follow." And my encouraging word for today is stay on the path. Because just as my grandmother told me, it won't be as long as it has been. And I did want to read over this definition of come to one's senses. It means to regain consciousness. That means you're actually unconscious. Oh boy. That means you're actually, like the man said, you're dead. Said about the other son, about his son. He said he was dead, but he's come back to life. Come to one's senses also means to start to think and behave reasonably after a period of foolishness or irrationality. Oh boy. That's a deep thought. And see, I just had a flash of a memory about part of my testimony I don't tell as much. And that's one time I was in an operation and the doctor said they had some complications. Afterwards, of course, they told me about it. And they said that I had a lung collapse. And see, right at that moment, the Most High reminded me that we do have an enemy of our soul that's trying to kill us. But he said every time something comes up, we're going to knock it down. Every time something comes up, we're going to knock it down. And a lot of us, we're in uncomfortable situations like that was for me. And we're in situations of uncertainty. And a lot of us don't know how we're going to make it from day to day. However, that's the key, day to day, minute by minute, hour by hour. See, the Most High has us in the sweet spot sweet spot of his, what's the word? Of his destiny, of his story. We'll put it that way. He has us in a sweet spot. That's not the word I want. Of his providence. That'll work. And he's teaching us how to depend on him for every meal. He's teaching us how to depend on him for every step. See, that's why Yahushua said, follow me. And them the disciples did something that a whole lot of us wouldn't do. They dropped everything and said, okay, I'll go. Here's my heart in my hands. Will you take it or will I stand alone in this dark world, a marked man? And see, that's how I feel a lot of times when I do these recordings. Most folks wouldn't understand what it means when you expose yourself to the world as I'm doing now, and as a lot of my brothers and sisters are doing right now. They're actually being poured out as a sacrifice. Or should I say, we're actually being poured out as a sacrifice by the Most High. And just as he called Peter and the boys, and they dropped everything, that's what we're having to do. And it's very uncomfortable. I'll be the first to say it. But at the same time, I'll be the first to say it's worth every ounce of submission. Every ounce of obedience. And see what the Most High just reminded me of. We're going to come to our sentence. But a lot of times it takes us going through some things to come back to reality, to remember. I don't have to go through this. My daddy has. That means I have. My daddy promised me, and see, this is something I take to him all the time. You said, you said, nope, you said. He said, that ain't what he said. Get out my face, that ain't what he said. And one of the main ones is he promised that we would see the goodness of the Most High in the land of the living. And never have I seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread. Father's house are many mansions. If it wasn't so, I wouldn't have told you. And yeah, you can look at that however way you want to look at it. It's all about how he tells you to apply that your faith into a text or into a word. And then you get the rewards of your faith you apply. So as I said, I would like to say be encouraged today. And stick in there with the Father. Stick in there with him. Like I said, my grandmother told me, and she was telling me this closer to her death more than ever. She would say, Bob, buddy, it won't be as long as it has been. I'll be just like, yes, ma'am. Okay, grandma. what I'm passing along today. It won't be as long as it has been. It seems like all hell is breaking loose. Everything is crazy. Your family don't want to act right. Your children acting crazy. Even your dogs want to snip at you. Or nip at you. But it's going to be okay. And trust you me, I'm encouraging myself like David said. Encourage yourself. See, what he meant by that is you have to start thinking back. Rewind the tape. Hit pause for now. Rewind the tape. And see, this is what meditation is. Stop everything. Rewind the tape. Hold on. And I'm going to read some of this Joshua 1. No one will be able to stand against you as long as you live. For I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. Be strong and courageous, for you are the one who will lead these people to possess all the land I swore to their ancestors I would give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the instructions Moses gave you. Do not deviate from them, turning either to the right or to the left. Then you will be successful in everything you do. Study this book of instruction continually. Meditate on it day and night, so you will be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do. This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Most High your Elohim is with you wherever you go. And that's from my thought, Moses is dead. And the Most High may have us to elaborate further on that one maybe tomorrow, but we'll see. I know it was important to put that out there then, that we have to meditate on the law, statutes, and commandments. We have to meditate on them on our own personal testimonies. See, that's very important. See, that's why it's so important that I share my testimony. It's so important that I get out here daily and share my life. Because for one, that's what I'm called to do, but the next thing is I'm building myself up. I'm encouraging myself. Again. And see, yes, the Most High gives me this text, gives me these thoughts, but it's nothing like speaking them out. It's nothing like recalling them and then he's speaking to and through you about that subject, about that idea, about that thought. And see, I think it's where it really is, the importance is encouraging somebody else. Pardon the spit. It's just like being saved from a sinking ship. And then you yourself throwing out a lifebuoy, the one that saved you, you throwing it back out there to save somebody else. Then you get them in, you throw it out and save somebody else. You get that person in, you throw it out to save somebody else. And there becomes a joy and an excitement for doing so. To the point it builds you up. To where you're feeling, I didn't want to say validated. You're feeling part of the Father's business. See, that's when you have become, and he told me this a few days ago, that's when you have become a successful businessman or businesswoman for the kingdom of the Most High. when you're at your Father's business, as Yahusha said, to a point where he's telling you, well done, my good and faithful servant. Okay, let's get it. Hallelujah. So be encouraged. Pardon me. No matter what's going on. And I forgot the rest. But you can make it. That's all I need to say. Be encouraged. We're about to jump on this bike, the Most High willing. Get us 7+ miles in and take it to the house. Like I said, we've missed a few days, and I'm just excited to sweat as I've been to get out here and touch on this idea for today. So I guess you would say they're both go hand in hand. Gotta get it out. It's just that important. And like I had said before, we're doing more work on the bike than anything else, than the squats or even walking. Per the Most High's instructions. So in the meanwhile, stay up and keep pushing forward in the right direction. Shalom.